As I've struggled to get back to fitness after my operation, I've thought about what kept me cycling before when motivation was flagging. And one thing that stood out was the adventure of it all. So I'm going to touch on here on what exactly I mean by adventure, because my own adventurous journey from couch potato to jog can be replicated by anybody if you don't define adventure by the amazing stuff that Bear Grylls and the like get up to on the television. Adventure. For many, that word is depicted in TV documentaries while we lounge on our sofa, watching people not like us doing dangerous things in exotic places. There's so many blogs and films of absolutely amazing trips across dramatic faraway places, jungles, deserts, mountains, and every other type of magnificent terrain. So when I mention in my YouTube video that I'll be sharing my adventures through the lens of my camera and try to encourage watchers to discover the thrill and freedom of adventure for themselves, I'm pretty sure adventures, as generally portrayed, might feel way out of your league and comfort zone. And more concerning for me, you might be expecting to watch an ordinary bloke on a bike cycling across the Sahara or running a gauntlet along swampy terrain, dodging crocodiles and poisonous snakes. It's my sincere hope that someone might be watching this who's sitting on their sofa with vague notions of getting on a bike or getting into running because they're fed up of feeling lethargic or overweight and concerned about the long-term effects of keeping that lifestyle. That's exactly where I was myself. Not so many years ago, I described myself then as an arthritic couch potato, probably using my arthritis as an excuse to delay doing anything about it. My son cycled back then, and that's where and why I began my journey. I consider myself a bit of a dreamer, really, as I entered into the world of road cycling and harboured thoughts and images in my head of holding my bike aloft at John O'Groats, probably not realising what it took to get there. The jog is the ultimate UK cycling adventure, and definitely wasn't for the likes of me. When I first ventured off my sorry ass and straddled my recently acquired hybrid bike, totally the wrong size I might add, that's another video, breathing heavily on my drive just through the exertion of getting the bike out of the garage, the 4-mile ride round the block certainly felt like an adventure to me. I was pushing myself beyond my comfort zone and venturing to somewhere I'd never been before and doing something I'd never done before. And that's my point. The dictionary definition of adventure is an unusual, exciting, or dangerous experience or journey or series of events. Dangerous? Well, maybe not. But otherwise, it's certainly an accurate reflection of how I felt that morning after that ride. Make no mistake, you were able to define your own adventure. And getting out on a bike, going further than you have before, going to places you've never been to before, is adventure. Even if initially it's just close to home, you will feel a sense of freedom and a heartwarming buzz that will make you want to do more and push it further. I was stunned very early on when I cycled from home to a place I'd been to in my car dozens of times and used country lanes I never knew existed to get there. A network of cyclist-friendly, very low traffic lanes, passing farms and beautiful scenery that you just won't see if you never venture beyond the norm of travelling in the quickest way from A to B by car. Adventure is about discovery, and it was happening to me in my own backyard, while still a relative beginner on the bike, and I wanted more of this. Now I've moved on a bit and started this social media and YouTube thing. It's pretty obvious no one will be watching a chubby bloke pedalling awkwardly for 4 miles around the block. So for the purposes of trying to make it a bit more interesting, I have the impetus and reason now to try and venture further afield myself, and sincerely hope with crossed fingers that some people may actually watch videos of those rides and the places I ventured through along the way. It'll never be the stuff of those dramatic documentary channels on TV, but they are adventures to me, and hopefully of some interest and inspiration to others who have grasped the life-changing baton of getting on a bike and seeing where it can take them. The first inspiration to film rides was provided one Christmas when my son Jamie gave me the book Great British Bike Rides by Dave Barter. These kind of gifted books often end up being a coffee table flick through, but it's an excellent read, and after leafing through those pages with route maps and detailed descriptions of wonderful parts of Britain I'd never been to, I just needed to get out there and experience riding my bike along these routes. And as it's now what I do, try and make a film along the way. The result is a playlist on this YouTube channel called Great British Bike Rides. What else? Which I'll link at the end. There's still many in the book to film. I actually did 4 of them in the south of England before I bought my camera and started filming rides. So I'll be delighted to revisit those wonderful routes at some stage and film them. It really is a great book and provided the push I needed to get me riding beyond my own backyard. And that's the point though. This isn't about the book specifically. It's about finding any inspiration to push your horizons further. Because doing the same bike rides over and over again stops becoming an adventure. And there's a danger you could even lose interest. This inspiration can be found in different places. And I hope this video itself may help provide some for anyone watching. In addition to rides from that book, I've taken my camera with me on various sportives and other rides with pals. When I visit other parts of this wonderful country, my bike usually tags along so I can film rides in that area. These are all ways of keeping the spirit of adventure alive. Remember the definition: an unusual, exciting, or dangerous experience or journey. Well, skip the dangerous bit. I didn't find any crocodiles or venomous snakes in Norfolk, for example. But it was a beautiful ride in an unusual place for me, and all the sports I've done are always fun and exciting and a sociable experience. Adventures. I also started to take my bike and camera further afield, exploring parts of Spain with mates and having family near Paris. I've also been able to film rides in parts of France, including a very interesting ride right into the centre of Paris. For the record, that lethargic, chubby, arthritic beginner that I described myself as earlier, who foolishly saw himself holding his bike aloft in John O'Groats, got to do exactly that just a few years later. I would say to any newish cyclist, if you really dream of doing something life-changing, like Land's End to John O'Groats on a bike, you really can. I did it 4 years after getting my first road bike and taking cycling a bit seriously. I completed it with 14 other fine and lovely people who I'd never met before and remain friends to this day. None of us, not one of us, could be described as athletes and had never done multi-day cycling before. And it was one hell of a life-changing adventure. Multi-day cycling events traversing from A to B is the ultimate adventure for a road cyclist. I put my name down for the jog when I was far from able to do such a thing. It didn't half focus the mind on getting prepared for it. One great thing about these events though is that they're not a race. So there's actually no hardcore training needed really, other than keep seeking out more adventure at my own preferred pace, different places, different terrain, interesting and fun. The fitness required for 14 days over 1,000 miles can be gained without ever feeling that training. So it really is something more people are capable of than they realise. I've traversed coast to coast in France last September, and I'm doing Wales end to end with my son Jamie in June this year. All of them a far cry from my 4-mile bimble along local lanes back in the day, but in the context of where I was as a cyclist at that time, that early ride was just as an adventure as Le Jog. More so in a way, because without that step, Le Jog and France coast to coast would never have happened. I can honestly say that getting off that sofa and on a bike has changed my life both physically and mentally. I also suffered from some anxiety issues at the time, and cycling helps so much with that too. And there's a video all about that important subject on this channel with some shocking real-life examples. So, don't just watch other people's adventures on television. Define your own and have fun doing them. And you never know where it might take you, which is what adventure is all about. Let me know in the comments below what your own definition of cycling adventure is and that you have a mind to do. If you are that person on the sofa that I described earlier, please believe that taking up cycling as a pastime can literally change your life for the better. There are plenty of videos on this channel with advice from beginners to take those early steps, and others that I hope are motivational when motivation is needed. So why not subscribe to the channel by clicking on this yellow icon and take a look at a couple of the videos I referred to earlier that can be watched by clicking on them. Happy cycling, happy adventuring. It's one and the same thing, and I'll see you soon.